Hey, what's up, guys? We've got some free picks for you for college football Friday night. We're going to pair some of this stuff up with stuff for tomorrow, and then we're going to have some plays going down tonight. Real quick, yesterday we closed this one out. This was not my main play, but just goes to show if you diversify, if you build enough lineups, and in this play, my main thing was Holden Willis, and then I just paired Holden Willis with his quarterback, and then I just found another duo from Thursday right here. So that's 3 nights in a row that these free picks have produced at least one winner. And even though all of our Syracuse plays got crushed, this play is $5 to win 42. This will offset a lot of the Syracuse losses. Now, it sucks what happened with Syracuse yesterday. For one thing, Traver Pena was ruled out. He wasn't supposed to play. So the lines for Gadsden and Meeks go up. And then all of a sudden, Pena comes in and plays. And then McCord throws like 7 interceptions, literally 3 pick sixes. He threw 3 pick sixes, and he still almost hit his number, but he did not throw to the right guys. Gadsden left at halftime with a concussion. Just a disaster of a game. And it's one of those games where you can watch it and be like, man, I'm never touching Syracuse again, if it's the first time that you bet on Syracuse. But Syracuse and Miami and LSU, those are 3 right there, and I'm sure there's a couple more that I'm not remembering, but like they're top 3 that we can count on. Like Syracuse is a team that we can count on 9 out of 10 weeks, and that was just a fluke game. Pitt's defense is insane against the pass. I mean, that secondary, it was crazy. Like Pitt's defense is really good, and it was just a shitty game, really. But we walk out of it with this win. And then NBA is back. We come out with this win right here. This was another Holden Willis play. I just paired him up with like everything I could find. I thought Chris Paul on the Spurs, 8 assists was a number that he could get to. That's $400 to $1,100 right there. I'm not limited on Chalkboard, so that's why you see me throwing down $5 on Prizepicks, $400 on Chalkboard. What I would teach you to do is risk the same amount every play. But if you see my bet amounts and they're so different and it's confusing, that's why. I really prefer to slam these things. I like to do $400 to $1,000 a play, I'd say. And then this one right here, $500 to win $1,500 on Dabble. In hindsight, the 3-mans on Dabble for 6x are better than the 2-mans, but I just liked these 2 a lot. I got Ricky White at 93.5 yards. So in today's video, my first pick's going to be Ricky White over receiving yards. I think against Boise State and Ashton Genty, they're going to put up a ton of points, and UNLV is going to have to pass the ball a lot, and Ricky White's going to benefit from that. But one thing I want to tell you guys is like it does benefit you to watch my videos on Tuesday and Wednesday. I know most of you are just excited for Thursday night football, Monday night football, college football Saturday, but there's a lot of value out there, like Holden Willis right here, that you can snag on a Tuesday, pair that up with something on a Friday, and this number right here for Ricky White, we'll see on Prizepicks in a second, but I've seen it up to 102 yards in some places. That means I got 9 yards of value already baked in with Ricky White at 93.5 on Dabble. So it does pay to hop on the videos and copy the plays earlier in the week. It's going to benefit you tremendously. Here we go. We're going to start with Ricky White right here. We're on popular. So I'm going to go to pass yards. I'm going to pair him up with his quarterback. Now, I'm not worried about Ricky White. I am worried about Malik Williams. He lives right on this number. He really could go either way. I mean, you can see that his last 4 games, he's between 182 and 233. That's not a wide range of outcomes for him. But like I said, I'm hoping that Boise State really forces him to come out. But honestly, guys, I could totally see Boise State just fucking shutting him down as well. And Malik Williams is a dual threat guy. He's a guy that will panic and run the ball. So it's tough here. I honestly prefer Ricky White as a standalone piece. So let's just build this out real quick, and then let's move on to the next pick. But I definitely want to get exposure to Malik Williams under. And I also want to get Ricky White just by himself. So it's not a bad idea to pair them up together. What I might do is I'll just take him off there because I don't love him. And what I'll do is I'll take Tyler Show, and crazy that he stayed healthy this whole season. Hopefully he doesn't get injured tonight. And I'll take Bell and Brooks here. This is a money 3-man right here. They're all red. It looks like they're on the same team, but we've got UNLV and Louisville here. This is a really good trio right here. And back in the day, last year on Prizepicks, where you could do trios and not get penalized, I would say this is a great trio. And on Dabble, this is a great trio to use. I'm going to have a lot of exposure to this trio right here. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But if this trio hits, I'll tell you right now, man, if this trio hits, I'm going to have a huge night. So I'm going to go $5 to win 42.5. That's my first pick right there. And then I'm going to go over to take UNLV's quarterback. And I want to have one with him over. So let's knock that out real quick. And then I want to get in some exposure with him under. So I like Ricky White over 100 yards. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take USC's receiver Lemon. Now before the season, I thought that Miller Moss and Lemon would have a great connection because Lemon was his guy in the bowl game. And with Caleb Williams at USC, the problem was he would just throw it to everybody, so you never could even use USC. And that had been the problem for a while here with USC this year. But the last 2 weeks, it's looking like Mekhi Lemon is Miller Moss's receiver 1. So anything can happen, man. But against Penn State, against Maryland, he went off. So I'm going to take Lemon over 54.5. And I will say, this is another one, man, where I really like the receiver. But I don't know how I feel about Moss hitting 291. 291's a ton of yards. He's only hit it in 2 of his last 5. But there is correlation. There is value in the correlation. So we're ultimately saying, look, if Williams goes over and if Moss goes over, you can almost guarantee that these 2 receivers will go over. They're so heavily correlated with their quarterback. I would say probably 30% of Moss's yards are going to go to Lemon, maybe 25 to 30%. And then I would say about 50% of Williams' yards are going to White. So if he hits 220, White should hit 110 pretty easy. So this is another play right here that I'm getting down on. And then let's build around, maybe build around these same quarterbacks going under. You could just flip the whole play, but honestly, I think there's ways that Lemon and White hit without their quarterbacks needing to go over. So what I would do here is I would look for another receiver on the team that you can go to. UNLV is not going to have that many options, but let's go to UNLV. We got really just 2 options here to choose from, and I don't want to fade Ricky White. I've got a lot on him, and I've got a lot of confidence in him. It's hard to fade DeJesus too because he's been going off. Man, we're really in a tough spot here. Ricky White is probably the guy to fade if you do want to get an under. I might just do this just kind of to hedge. I don't love it, but it's smart to build these out. These are 8.5x returns, so it is smart to build these out because if you hit, you're in such a good spot. So Hudson's been doing pretty good. See what Lane's been up to. Lane is probably our guy to fade here, huh? He's boom or bust. Man, USC just has so many receivers. You can definitely get in trouble with any of them, but it's kind of like just pick one and just hope for the best. And if it's not a big throwing day for USC, then that play is going to come in handy. This right here, guys, just to be clear, this isn't a play that I love to make, but I kind of force myself to do this. So for every 3 plays that I do, all overs, you should do one that's all unders just to cover your ass. And what will happen is I could go 1-3, 3 losses, 1 win, but this 1 win will cover all of those losses. So when you're building lineups on these DFS sites, you need to build lineups that diversify. And by having somewhere they're over, somewhere they're under, you're covering both sides. Now the big key here, guys, is you need to pair the receiver with the quarterback, receiving yards and passing yards together. You can't be doing shit like this. Like, watch this. Well, I don't know if this site's working now. Let me click reuse. You can't be doing stuff like this where you're like, oh, I think Miller Moss will go over and Lane will go under. Sometimes you'll think that. Like, I genuinely believe Williams could go under and White could go over. But it would be a terrible play for me to make, because if Williams goes for 250 yards, I just fucked that up. And you want to keep the quarterback and receiver on the same page. So both more or both less, but never do the opposite on teammates when it comes to passing and receiving yards. All right, let's see what else we can get down on. I really like Camper here for Boise State. He's coming off a 111-yard performance. Man, when you think about UNLV, their defense can give up points, but you know what might happen is the running back might just run wild. Let's see what Boise State's quarterback's looking like. 217. You know, I think what we may do, boys, is we may hit the under here. And then what we might do is go to rushing yards and just take Genty over, man. 192, he can go for 200 any given night. So if Genty's busting off long runs, what that's going to do is it's going to take yards away from the quarterbacks and receivers for Boise, and then it's going to force UNLV to answer back. So that's where I'm going to get another play in with just Ricky White right here. So this is a nice little 4-man, fits a story, fits a script. If Genty's going off, then we should be pretty solid right there. All right, let's go ahead and let's clear the lineup, back to board, and let's focus here now on passing yards. We're going to take Louisville, and then receiving, we got Brooks and Bell, and we may even want to just pick one of them. Let's see what we got on here. Let's see what we got on Saturday, actually. I'll scroll to Saturday, see if I can pair it up with one of my favorite duos on Saturday real quick for us. So what we might want to go, Trey Harris versus Oklahoma is pretty solid. Armstrong and Mississippi State. Man, you know what I might do, guys, is it might be time to go back to TCU versus Texas Tech. This is going to be the free play. We're going to go Hoover and Betch. Betch is the former LSU guy, but he is a beast at TCU, coming off of a really shitty game, actually. And Hoover and Betch is actually one of the top duos in the nation. The last 2 weeks, they have sucked, but against Texas Tech, I think they get right. Oh, man, I love this 4-man right here, boys. This is probably my favorite play of all the ones that I've built. And you can also swap Bell out there with the other receiver, but very solid TCU and Louisville. I love that one. Now, before I head off, I want to say thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for supporting the show. I do have a day pass for you guys. I should have said this earlier in the video. It's $10. You're going to end up getting my favorite 6 plays for Dabble and my favorite 6 plays for Prizepicks. So 12 picks total for $10. It's going to sell out quick, but my thought process here is $10. Anyone can afford it. And if I help you make $200, you'll be able to buy my Saturday pass or a year pass or something like that. So I'm going to take 30 of you guys. I'm going to give you 12 plays. We're going to probably hit 3 or 4 of them, and they're going to be 10 to 25x plays. So if we hit a couple 25x plays, you're rich off this pass. So you're going to get some of my best stuff here. You're going to get at least a dozen plays. I might even send more. So that's all I've got for this video. Go to winnable.com/SBE. Go sell this shit out. It's $10 for the Friday pass. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day, and let's get ready to make some money this weekend, boys.